Hey everybody, this is Brent, the training director from Lion Lux, and in this episode I'm going to drink some wine and show you how to meal prep 2 meals in under 1 hour that are both very simple but also very tasty. And along the way I'm going to show you some tips on how to make the food really have some great flavor and last the whole week. So let's get started. So let's start by looking at the ingredients first. We're going to do 1 Italian style dish and 1 Mexican style dish. We've got some whole wheat penne, some organic pasta sauce. We've got 2 different spices here. I like my food pretty spicy, so I'm going to throw some of that even on the Italian. We got some frozen asparagus to go on as well. And then the other side, I've got some basmati brown rice. We've got some organic salsa, 2 different spices, and some bell peppers. The cheese is going to go on both, and obviously so is the chicken. You always want to start with the thing that's going to take the longest to cook first. Now, even though I'm going to use a rice cooker today, it's going to make setting up the rice super simple. It's still going to take about 45 minutes to cook. So we're going to start on that first. So if you haven't used a rice cooker before, these things are worth their weight in gold. All I have to do is put the proper amount of rice in here, put twice as much water in, stick it in there, turn it on, hit brown rice, good to go. I've already done the math here. I need about 68 grams per meal. I'm doing 3 meals, so I need about 204 grams total. So I'm just going to turn this on with this container on here. It's going to tear out at 0. I'm going to add 204 grams to it. All set. Now I just need to add some water and toss it in there. If you want to prevent the rice from sticking to itself, you can add a little bit of olive oil in there too. I'm also going to throw some of the spices in there. You don't have to season your rice, but it does add a little bit of flavor and keep it a little more interesting if you want to. The thing that's going to take the next longest is going to be the pasta. I've got to get the water to a boil first, so I'm going to do that right now. So while that's heating up, we're going to start to prepare the chicken. Now, people really struggle with meal prepping chicken. They don't prepare the meat properly. What you need to do is let it get to room temperature first. Then you need to rinse it off and dry it off. If you don't do that, the outside is going to get steamed and rubbery. You also want to cover it with a coating of olive oil and then throw some spices on it. We're going to do that and then stick it in the oven, which we're already preheating. Here's another quick tip to keep your cleanup simple. If I lay a layer of tinfoil over this and then curl up the edges so it doesn't drip out onto the pan, I'll be able to just crumple this up and toss it out after. I can't stress enough that if you treat this properly, it's going to be great all week. Make sure you let it get to room temperature, wash it, dry it off, cover it in oil, spice it up just right. It's going to be great. If you pick spices that aren't heavy in sodium, you can really coat them on there and get some good flavor on the chicken. Don't be afraid to mix and match too. Make sure that when you put this in, you pick one of the thicker pieces and leave it on the outside, so when you're using a thermometer, you can get at that. If that one's done, the rest of them definitely are. So my water here is coming to a boil. I need to throw the pasta in now. You probably noticed that I measured the rice dry. I'm going to do the same thing with the pasta. The reason you want to do this is because after these things are cooked, the amount that they weigh has a lot to do with how much water content they have. That doesn't affect the amount of carbs in them though. So I want to do this while they're dry to make sure I get a very accurate reading. Now, instead of putting this boiling pot on my food scale, what I'm going to do is open up this box, tear out the food scale with the box on here, and then pour in and go negative, right? So I did the math earlier. I need about 210 grams of this pasta in order to make 3 meals. So I'm going to weigh that out now. Right on the nose. The meat's in the oven. I'm going to check the temperature on that in a few minutes. The pasta's going, rice is going. I got to commit, just relax. If I could offer you one pro tip about meal prepping, it's that you need to realize the meat is going to continue to cook after you take it out of the oven. So if chicken needs to be 165 to be safe, you really want to pull it out of the oven at 155. Keep in mind that you're going to be microwaving it later in the week when you're eating it, so it's going to cook a little bit more. If you want it to be super moist, you need to make sure that you take it out a little bit early, and having a thermometer like this is really going to help to make sure you get the perfect chicken every time. Alright, the pasta's almost done. I'm going to give the chicken a check right now, so I'm just going to open this up, stick this in this large piece that I left on the edge here. So this is about 135 right now. Maybe needs another 5 or 10 minutes to get to that 155. Again, I want to pull it out early so that when I microwave it and eat it later in the week, it's still moist. Moist. Okay, so my chicken's done, which looks awesome. Pasta's done. Rice has about 6 minutes left. So we're gonna set the containers out and get these ready to get the food in them. Like we talked about before, I've got 3 servings of pasta in here. Now, this is really hot. I don't really want to throw this on my food scale. I'm just gonna put down a serving bowl, turn this on, tear it to 0. Pour all the pasta in here. This is really hot. Okay, so that's a total of $3.95. Now, if I divide $3.95 by 3, I need 131 grams per serving. Since I know there's just 3 servings in here, I just divide what the total weight is by 3 and put it in 3 containers. It's super simple and it's extremely accurate. So I'm just going to tear this, which is basically turn it to 0. I'm going to take 131 out. Kind of estimate what a third is to start. That looks kind of like a third. Wow, that's like spot on. Okay, so I'm going to tear it again and do the same thing with the next one. Perfect. All right. Same thing with this rice. This container is really hot. I've teared this out to 0. I'm just going to pour all the rice in here. Yes, I'm a bachelor and I don't actually have oven mitts or anything. I just use a towel. Don't judge. I know this is equivalent to 3 servings. It's 5, 13. I'll divide that by 3 and then divide that into these containers equally. Even after you do the last one, you still want to put the empty container back on the scale to make sure you didn't screw up your math. Oh my god. Oh. It's so tender. I can't stress enough that if you prepare the meat properly, this is going to taste great all week. So don't take any shortcuts. Honestly, the rest of this is just garnishing, right? I'm trying to make this taste great and really get some flavor, but I don't make my clients track vegetables. So this is mostly a tomato sauce. This is mostly a tomato sauce. I'm not super concerned about the quantity of this, so I'm not going to weigh it out. I'm just going to use a tablespoon and put 2 in each. I lied, I'm going to add a third. Ooh. Almost threw some salsa in the Italian. Okay, as you can see, I've got more than half of these containers left. If I were to do a larger scale meal prep, I'm just trying to keep this small and compact since I'm a one-man show today. I want you guys to be able to see everything. Normally I would do more like 12 meals instead of 6, so this would be more than enough. I just need another container of chicken, and I've got more than enough food here to get me through the week. Last thing before the veggies. Again, I'm going to tear this at 0 and then take the proper quantity out for each. This is super simple and in my opinion the fastest way to get stuff on your meals here. I'm just hitting tear, making sure I got the right amount in my hand, dropping it on, hitting tear again. This is super fast and super accurate. Okay, the last thing, the veggies. Now, you don't want to skip these. It's important to focus on getting your micronutrients in addition to your macronutrients, so vitamins and minerals in addition to proteins, fats, and carbs. Taking a multivitamin is a great way to make up for any deficiencies you might have in your diet. However, taking the real thing is always best. Now, people ask me why I use frozen vegetables instead of fresh vegetables. The truth is that just like freezing meat preserves it, freezing vegetables does the same thing. There's a higher nutrient content in frozen vegetables for the most part, especially if they're organic, than fresh vegetables that you find in the produce department. So I like these. They're super easy. They're already prepared, cut up. All I need to do is slice the bag open and portion them out. Like I said, I don't make my clients track their veggies because we need to get our micronutrients in, and honestly there's a very small amount of carbs in these. Now if you were preparing for a show, you probably do want to track your vegetable content, but for what we're doing today, this is perfect for me. I'm just going to slice this open and distribute this. just going to stash these in the fridge and use them throughout the week. Now, as always, if you guys have any questions about this video, leave a comment in the comment section. If you have a question you want answered, let us know. Thanks for watching. I can't stress enough, if you treat the meat right, that's weird.